Well, here we are again. Because I love you. So, today's topic is freedom. Well, this afternoon's topic is freedom. This morning was something else that I can't remember. But freedom. I was actually meandering through my day. I got up early. I did some self-care stuff. Hung out with some friends. Then I came home and I worked for a while. Then I went swimming. Then I went shopping. Now I'm home again, working and doing stuff having to do with my business to be able to make the kind of money that I want to make so I can live the kind of life that I want to live. Now, freedom. Freedom is different for everybody. I think that generally speaking, people believe that making more money means more freedom. I would agree with that. However, with a stipulation that making more money and chasing money for the sole sake of making more money and not knowing what you want is kind of pointless and endless, because then you just end up with a bunch of stuff, which doesn't actually mean anything other than you have stuff. And having stuff doesn't mean you're free. As a matter of fact, the more you own, the more it owns you. But we're not against having stuff. But anyway, back to what you want and what kind of freedoms that can afford you, or what exactly is freedom, right? So maybe you want more free time. Maybe you want more time with your kids. Maybe you want more time to go on vacation and travel. Maybe you do want more money. Maybe you want to have people in your life or a special person in your life, right? I think those are basic things we all want, right? We all have a sex instinct. We all have an instinct for some kind of community or society. And then we'd also have instincts for emotional and financial security. So, why aren't you free? Why aren't you getting or having or experiencing the things that you want, or the things that you were thinking of when I was just talking, that would enable you to be free? Well, first of all, it's because of excuses, and second of all, it's because of bondage. Bondage, I know. Nobody wants to admit that they're like enslaved to something, like somebody else or some job, and we all make great excuses like, well, I have to keep this job because fill in the blank, or, I can't leave because fill in the blank, and it usually has to do with what somebody else thinks or what somebody else wants, or some kind of like messy obligation that you have that you cannot or don't feel you can extricate yourself from. But the truth is you're free to do whatever you want, whenever you want. Now, that doesn't mean being selfish. That means that doesn't mean like, oh, I'm going to go through my life and be like, yeah, I'm just going to go do whatever I want. And I don't care who's affected, and I don't care who doesn't like it. No, that's not really the point. When one is centered, when one is spiritually aware in their desire, clear about what they want, the things come easier. The path to desire is more step by step, darker in outline, clearer in purpose, when you have spent the time knowing yourself and actually knowing what it is you want that will make you feel free. So for me, I spent years working a Monday to Friday 9 to 5 job. I was good at it. I excelled. I changed careers like 3 times within a corporate or company setting where I worked a 40-hour work week. And about 12 years ago, I attempted to get out of that mode, the 40-hour work week, and I failed miserably. Now, don't be scared off by that, because failing is good. Failing means that if you learn from it, you make progress and you get a lot clearer about what you want. So when I came back to that probably 7 or 8 years later, aka 5 years ago, I was much more clear about what I wanted, and I had also already overcome a lot of the mental and material stumbling blocks, because I had no idea when I started working for myself and I wanted all this freedom and I wanted to do all this great stuff. I had no idea what my internal voices and obstructions would start screaming at me. And there was a lot of that going on. There were a lot of limiting beliefs. There was a lot of lack. And there was a lot of base of my personality and my work ethic in poverty. And so I couldn't make any money and I couldn't succeed. So I had to have all of that stripped away so I could get really clear about my purpose, and I could get really clear about my work, and I could also just get really free to be service-oriented and grateful. So now, a couple of years later, I do work I love, I have a schedule I love, I have enough time to care for myself and do the things I want to do, I take vacations, and there's a lot of abundance in my life. This is something that it hasn't come easy, but it's come. And I know how to teach people how to get there, because it all comes from the surrender to what you actually have no control over, what you're actually powerless over, and the things that you're actually attached to that you don't even want. So if you want to get free, you have to get clear about what you want, and you have to stop attaching yourself to the bogey bullshit that you don't want. Right? And I don't even think most people have an awareness that they're doing that, or have an awareness of how attached they are to material things and things that leave them feeling unsatisfied. So we want desire, we want satisfaction, we want happiness, we want peace, we want personal freedom, we want autonomy, we want a life we love. Because man, it's going to end someday, and it better be good. This better be a good show, I'll tell you what. So come back for more, and we'll keep talking about how to live a better life, how to have more power, how to have more purpose in your work and your life. NicoleDevlin.com. Thanks for hanging around.